vengeance. The Girls Want to Know is back today, and we
What
are
up,
talking
boost?
about, we're talking about some hot shit today.
Hot shit.
We are talking about, you guys, are we moving into a new era of dating?
And yes, the fuck we are.
We are.
Yes.
The tables have turned.
The tables have turned. We're all, I think, we're at an impasse, I think.
It's interesting.
It's weird. Yeah.
You know, I don't know if this is, for me, if it's maturity and now you are just seeing things differently, but in the last year or three, I feel like dating has been just way more complicated than I've ever experienced it. And or now there's like all these like podcasts and different talk shows that are like predominantly back and forth with men and women about what they need and what we need and what they don't do. Like, it's just.
And I think also there's a lot of people who are consuming the podcast information. I think a lot of people need to touch grass. Like, if we're being honest,
You need to touch that grass.
People really sit online and think that the scenarios that are presented on social media are the end all be all, and that is the reality for 100% of like relationships and situationships that exist, and it's just not that. And I think there's a lot of unfair expectations put on women.
I think that social media plays a huge part in where we are in this new era. Especially if you want to go all the way back to like our grandparents or they parents.
Yeah, because they wasn't dealing with this.
You had to walk a long walk to get to that woman.
Yeah.
Like,
you had to court
her. You couldn't
her.
just go online.
You had to court her. Yes.
Right.
You had to see her like in passing and then ask the homies who she is and then go talk to somebody and see if you could talk to her. Like, it was a whole process.
Also, you needed to know her family.
You needed to know her family. You needed to take her on dates. You needed to have like means to support her. And the thing is, like, we've come into a time now where women have means to support themselves, but he's created an entirely new issue in the dating world where there's this fight for almost equal rights in a relationship where it's like,
this is my opinion. I feel like this is more of a thing now because of the fact that women are not in the same mental space that men in something like it's like, to me, I feel like it's in their blood, like that caveman mentality. Not all men, but majority of them have this, I'm the breadwinner, I'm this, I need to be the center of attention, I need to be, and it's changed now.
It's changed,
and mentally, for some of them, I think they're having a hard time being like, wait a minute, she makes more money than me. Wait a minute, she's smarter than me.
Wait a minute, me to be emotionally available. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that part I think is really shaking them a lot. And it's interesting that it's shaking them because in the generation that we're in is so different than what the men we are around even can see, especially men that were raised by single mothers.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that they have these mentalities with women when it's like, you kind of saw what your mother went through with XYZ men or just how hard she worked. So the respect for a woman that has her own is just not being received.
I also think that there's somehow resentment towards the mother in those situations.
Baby,
for some reason. And the thinking is that she's somehow
in the show.
Yeah, like
it's a lot of mommy issues going on.
It's outside. A lot of mommy issues, but I think a lot of that stems from like the internalized misogyny of thinking that somehow this woman drove your father away, when in reality he just made the choice to leave. And so there's a lot of responsibility placed on women to maintain relationships. Like, if you're a single mother, suddenly that's your fault. And they tell us you need to pick better. Yeah. And then we start picking
Kevin
better.
Samuels, baby.
Well, I mean,
he was the main one online being like, yeah, well, why did you have the kids? Well, maybe I planned to marry him. He started acting wild and was abusive and I should leave. And now I want to start over.
Yeah.
Where he would, so.
Yeah. And I think we have just come into a space now where it's kind of like, you told us to pick better and we are picking better. But picking better means we're not dating as much as we used to. So I haven't dated it's been a good
It's a lot of my friends that are in that boat and they are fine.
I'm fine with it. Yeah. Because I just feel like for me, I saw this thing online that said, what's scarier, being alone or settling for the wrong person? For me, it's 100% settling for the wrong person. Yeah. Settling in general. I had
a wrong baby with the wrong man. And there you have it, folks.
Yeah. Like, when I think about who I want to spend my life with, I think about it in terms of like, how am I going to integrate this person into my life in a way where where I don't feel like I have to compromise any part of myself?
Ooh, let me tap in on that.
Yeah.
I literally feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm in a relationship, but I don't want to say anything like that makes it, my relationship's healthy and is not negative in any way. But I do feel like That is one thing I'm noticing when it comes to just men in general.
Mhm.
I don't think that this is stemming from he's a bad man or what. I think it's just a men thing of their mentality is like, I want her to be this, this, this.
Mhm.
And when they pick you, you might look like what they want you to look like. You
Mhm.
may be successful because there's a lot of men out there that are very much attracted to successful women, but then they'll get you and want to alter you.
Mhm.
Almost water you down a bit
Mhm.
that fits into their narrative.
To the box that they wanted
You to
their
be-
partner to be in.
But that's
yeah.
that's not to be man bashing. That's in general with
I
certain
mean, I'm
people
okay
in
with
life.
man bashing. I'm not gonna
I'm
lie.
just saying in general at a job, certain people that are insecure with who they are,
Yeah.
they will do that to you.
Yeah.
I've been in situations like that in jobs where like
100%,
the person that I'm working with feels insecure, so they have to water me down or
Mhm.
put me in a box in order for them to feel comfortable around
To
me.
validate their own existence.
Yes.
When the thing is, if you would just like go heal,
Mhm.
like if you would just try to figure out what in you is so threatened by a successful, smart, like
Mhm.
independent person, and then address that, you would be so much happier in the connections that you have.
Yeah.
So I think about, there's this song by Death Cab for Cutie. I always reference this whenever the question of like, would you rather settle or like be with the wrong person, like, or be alone comes up. There's a song by Death Cab for Cutie called Kath. And
never
he
heard of it.
talks about how this woman is basically getting married. She's a woman of a certain age. She's
Mhm.
getting married. The guy is good enough, but he's not necessarily the guy she wants. And everybody's kind of whispering in the pews, like, what's going to become of them? Like, we know this isn't going to last. But she just wants to get married. And this guy just wants to get married. And so they're going to do it. And the idea of something like that, I think for a lot of women is so terrifying that it completely stops us from engaging with it at all. And so we'll cut stuff off super early because you just understand once you get to a certain age and once you've experienced enough in life that this is not going to be something that's sustainable long term. So why would I waste my time?
I think also women have endured a lot of pain when it
Yeah.
comes to men, a lot of ups and downs,
Mhm.
a lot of disappointment, a lot of heartbreak. And I think once you rebuild yourself and you have to heal,
Yes.
you're not going to jump out there. It's almost like the same
Yes.
mentality of putting your hand on the stove.
Yes.
How many times you think I'm going to get burned before I'm like, I'm good on you?
Baby.
And I think a lot of women have gone through enough to where they're like, I'd rather be alone and make myself happy than go out there and deal with somebody making me feel in ways that I'm building myself not to feel.
And the other thing is, you don't even necessarily, because you see all the time, like, shit about this. My friend's girlfriend just broke up with him, and he's 6 figures and 6 feet and apartment in the sky, and he's got a Mercedes. And it's just kind of like, yeah, but those are not necessarily the things that help you be happy in a relationship.
But a lot of men think that.
I think this is where the disconnect is coming from.
Again, I've run into those
because y'all making money and y'all in shape, but y'all don't go to therapy.
But
and
here's
that
the
is
crazy thing.
Yeah,
they also like I saw this on a podcast or something the other day, and I was like, they contradict themselves so much. They talk about how they want us to be this, that, and the third, but then when we be that, they like, see, she doing. It's like, so this guy, he was an athlete, and he was like, a lot of women, you don't really got to do stuff for them if you got money. You could just buy them stuff and to keep them quiet.
Oh,
if she has everything paid, she not finna say nothing half of the time. This dude literally
was
online saying he's a
Quite
basketball
honestly,
player.
Yeah, this is my nightmare.
And he was like, I'm not even home half of the season. I go do what I do. She at home with the kids. He's doing this. She's at home with the kids. You know what I'm saying? She got a house. She got a nice car. She can shop when she wants. She can do whatever she wants. So she ain't tripping. Now, granted, you do heal like Wolverine when a man got money. I did tell you that. Whatever
Maybe that little cheating scandal be off your brain in a week.
Yes. But I think that mentality that he thinks that shows you a lot of where men are mentally when it comes to emotions, with showing you how they know what togetherness even is. To him, he like, I don't even need to worry about her.
I don't.
I'm gonna throw her some money.
Yeah, he's paying for her life, and so for him, that's enough. And the thing is, it might not be okay for her, but she might be in a financial situation where I can't really just pick up and leave, because he does pay for my life.
I mean, she has kids.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different,
so it's an entirely different situation. And I think that's another thing that a lot of women are just not willing to do anymore, is make themselves financially dependent on a man.
When I tell you.
Because the abuse be real.
The abuse be.
Because that's abusive, what he's saying. Like,
you know what drove me to be what I am, honey?
Yeah.
Watching my father be a whole food, my mother. She told me this probably when I was like, I think I was 5. She had my backpack on. She grabbed me and said, don't you ever depend on a man. Don't you ever depend on a man.
She said preschool life lessons, baby.
I didn't even know what she was talking about. I said, who? She said, you'll learn when you get older. And she was telling me this because I think probably about my teen years, she was like, I wish I would have done what you're doing. She was like, I love my kids. I'm happy. She was like, but I never thought about what I wanted for me.
Yep.
I married your father. He had majority of the money. He was doing, she's like, but when I found out he was cheating and had a whole nother family, when I wanted to walk away, I had to walk away with nothing.
Yep.
I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car. I didn't have anything. And she's like, and you know what he did?
Yeah.
He made sure that I knew that I didn't have anything.
Yep.
That was the argument. And a lot of men hate that women now are successful. So when we do walk away, it's like, we don't need you for nothing.
We don't need you. And the thing is, I think enough of us have gone through the thing where you were in a situation where you kind of like try to make a circle fit into a square, or a square fit, whatever that saying is.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You tried to do that and it didn't work out, and you ended up depleting so much of your energy, draining so much of your life force, trying to fit yourself into this relationship. And it ends up being another thing that you have to heal from. And so for us, the idea is just, let me make sure that I am being the best version of who I can be. So when the right person comes along, I'm ready, but I'm just not about to entertain the wrong people. It's just not going to happen.
I also think for me, it's like, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but you ever go on a date or you started dating somebody and they start remind you of a situation that you've already experienced, and you're like, he got one more time to show up like the other dude. And
he don't even be having one more time, baby. You really get like,
I'll give you one more time to make sure because I'll point it out to you and be like, I'm not really feeling this.
You know what? You're right. Let me not
and
be. Yeah.
I try to give them at least, the benefit of the doubt, because I think even for myself, I'm not perfect. So I would want somebody to like point out something that I've done wrong and give me the opportunity to correct it or address it. So I try to do that. But if you do it too often, immediately in my mind, I'm about to start like canceling you out.
Well, yeah. So
because I'm like, I'm not taking myself.
I ended a relationship
down that road
a couple years ago for that very same reason. Because I probably had the same conversation 2 or 3 times.
And you get triggered. Like, if you ever dated a man that was, I've never been like physically abused, but it's a lot of mental abusive dudes outside that find ways to say things to lower your self-esteem, or to make you feel dumb, or to make you feel like you're always wrong. So you can always, it's a manipulative tactic that I picked up on men that they do, that when I pick it up, it pisses me off. Because it's like this thing they do to try to make you feel small or give themselves some superiority. Yeah. And it's just like, when I catch that, I'll be like, all right, Darnell, you got one more time. And you're going to find yourself.
I just don't. You're going to be single.
You're going to find yourself.
I done told you you're going to be single.
Calling me.
And then they cuss you out because they mad because you dumped them.
What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. Rejection. So this is why we would rather be in the forest with a bear. Because when men face rejection, a lot of times it is to our physical or emotional detriment. Like, we end up having to deal with the rage that they feel that we did not act or like become who they felt like we wanted them to become. Girl. I remember I stopped talking to a guy and he was mad. He was like, I wouldn't have spent all this money on you. And it's just kind of like,
what are you talking about?
We was in a relationship. We spent money on each other. The fuck?
Who says that?
Who says that?
You ever seen that movie where they kick the man off the little hill and he fall into the abyss?
Girl, what
was that?
300? Like, what are we talking about?
Is Spartan.
300? Oh my God.
Literally, when somebody, she would have said that to me.
I love that.
Kick him right off. What is you talking about?
What are you talking about?
So
though?
you was investing in me?
You were
I'm
investing
not even in a
me.
person?
And I think the crazy thing is, like, you get into a relationship with someone, and this is what I mean when people need to go out and touch grass, because you're online and you're constantly being fed the rhetoric of, what do you bring to the table? What are you worth? Like, why should I have to spend money to take you on a date? You don't. But also, you have to understand that there are certain women who are okay with the bare minimum and certain women who are not okay with the bare minimum. And if you want to date the women who are not okay with the bare minimum, you're going to have to step your shit up.
Yeah, and we're going to circle back to the bare thing, but let me jump in on what you're saying. A lot of men think they ready for a bad bitch.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say that again. A lot of men think they ready for a bad bitch.
They don't be ready.
They not. And I think a lot of times, too, they don't want to admit it to themselves, but you way out of your league. Mm-hmm. You way out of your league. And you could tell when a man knows he's way out of his league. Yes. Of course you're going to reach high. Who don't? Mm-hmm. Who don't want to reach high? Who don't want to see the biggest beautiful butterfly in the room and be like, let me get that
that's
one.
my baby.
I want that one.
Yeah.
You get it though, and now you can't handle it. A lot
Yeah.
of them can't handle it, because if you see that's a fly butterfly, everybody thinks that's a fly butterfly. Is your confidence up enough to know everywhere you go, everybody gonna be peeping that
complimenting
butterfly?
her on what she look
Complimenting
like.
her.
You
You know, you go to the
constantly,
bathroom, all of a sudden now it's 2 and 3. She ain't even like, giving them energy, but now they
Yeah.
talking to her. It's a lot of men that can't handle that, and that turns into either physical or mental abuse, because now they're like, I gotta make her I gotta make her feel small. She
So
outside
she won't,
thinking big, bitch, and you gotta bring it down small.
I need this confidence to be reduced
But
significantly.
a lot of guys want this.
Yeah.
Like, and the rap music make them think that. Drake got the boys out here thinking they need to chase a certain type that they can't afford, or they mentally aren't ready for it.
I think the funny thing is Drake, with all his money, can't afford none of the women that
he's aware
to
that he can't afford them. I don't think Drake's dumb.
He literally is just, everyone is out of his league, and
he says it in the songs. He's a terrible person walking, and women just allow it. That's Drake.
That's a whole nother,
that's a whole
insane to me.
But to piggyback on what you were saying about, there's a video, you guys. I kind of want to edit it into our clip so everybody can know.
Okay.
There's a video streaming all around on TikTok and Instagram where women are asking other women, or whoever, somebody's asking, if you'd rather be trapped in the woods with a bear or a man.
Bear.
So far,
it's gonna be a bear for me.
Women are picking the bear.
Yeah.
My answer when Alicia asked me randomly, because I didn't even see the video yet, was like, I'm gonna pick the man because I'll kill him if he pulls. Like, I'm nuts. Yeah, that was my original answer. I think you asked me and you looked at me like, huh? I was like, I'll pick the man because if he pull up, I'm gonna just go ahead and end him. But
you said it was gonna be a sport.
I was like, yeah, this is fun for me. We hunting each other in this forest. Like, I'm out here on some bullshit too. Where you at, homie? Like, I'm trying to scare him. But
come out wherever you are.
Literally, don't play with me. I think that a lot of women are saying bear now that I'm learning a bear's personality. Because at first I was like, no, I don't want to be out in the woods with one bear. But this woman asked a man if he would be safe with his daughter being left in the woods with a man or a bear. And a man actually said a bear.
Which I think the crazy thing about this whole entire conversation is when you talk to men about like relationships and when you talk to them about abuse, they will say they do not know men who do this kind of stuff. And it just, we're over exaggerating and we're putting 20 on 10. But then
we're not taking accountability for ourselves.
But then if you ask a man if he want to place his child in the forest with a bear or another man, the immediate answer, and I mean, there is no time for thought on this. The gut reaction is a bear. And you have to ask yourself, where is the cognitive dissonance
man said,
here?
She could possibly scare the bear away. I'm not sure what a man would do. A man!
Like, y'all know that you're toxic. I just feel
and it wasn't like she caught him off guard and he was like, he was chilling in his bed.
He was chilling, eating. No, he was eating, and I feel like his gut reaction was a bear. But I think the crazy thing is, like, we're constantly saying, hey, these are issues that need to be rectified. And when it comes to, like, pointing it out on a one-to-one basis, the answer is always, we need to take accountability. What are y'all doing? And we're not that bad. It's not that bad. When the truth of the matter is, like, you motherfuckers would rather leave your child in the forest with a bear, a wild animal, than one of your own. Yeah. That speaks volumes to the, like, about what we're dealing with here. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think it validates for so many people, no, we're not over exaggerating anything. The circumstances of relationships and dating are just bad. That, and I also think with men, they don't grow the same way we do. Unfortunately, women, and they haven't had to accept that. Yeah. But I think for us, for example, when a woman is trying to better herself or take accountability. Let's just go ahead and say that. I'm not saying all women are perfect. There are things about myself that I had to learn over time about my dating habits, about how I approach things, about the things I do, like a lot of different things. But the fact that I took the time to do that and go through that for years, okay? You know, I think it's harder for me to hear somebody be like, you're not taking accountability. It's like, I've taken the time. Men, you don't really hear a lot of guys like having meetings of accountability or having meetings to heal. Men have groups where they discuss the things they like and the things they want and the things they dislike. Sports. No, I'm saying I've had conversations with men. If you ask them,
how they feel. Like, if you and I have a conversation, right, about a relationship, you're going to be like, what I need emotionally is this.
Yeah.
What I want out of a relationship is this. How I need to feel down the line is this.
Yes.
I want kids because you sit with a man, he immediately not going to come into any of that with himself. Not all men, some. I'm saying he's going to say, well, I know I don't want to be with a woman that I know I don't want. They only know what they don't want and what they do want, but they haven't taken.
Yeah.
You see the difference?
Yes. And so it's funny that you say this. This happens on dating apps where if you are on the apps, there's like these little prompts that you can kind of tell about yourself where it'll ask you a question like a typical Sunday for me looks like ... and then you write a response.
What eliminates a lot of y'all sometimes.
This is what eliminates a lot of y'all. And a lot of men will use this space to talk about what they don't want. If you don't work out, if you don't have your own this, then you need to just swipe left. And it's just like, wow, you've just wasted this very precious space to not say anything positive about yourself, but to denigrate women who you don't feel like are on your level. And the thing is this, it's okay if you don't want to date those kind of women, don't date them. It's fine. But you don't need to use that. Yeah, you don't got to wear a t-shirt. You don't need to use this very precious little bit of space that you have to give us an insight into who you are to degrade women who are not what you want.
Yeah.
Because now the women who are what you want are not interested.
Because now we're looking at you like, oh, he's
issues. Gross. Yeah, he's toxic.
He's been through something that obviously he hasn't addressed with himself because he's still talking about it. It's the same thing how men say, oh, well, she's still not over such and such if she's still talking about it. You see what I'm saying? This is I have so many conversations with male comics all the time with these, and it's like they brain don't understand what I'm saying to them, but I'd be like, you see how I just sat here and told you what I want, how I feel, how I love, and all you did was tell me, well, I'm not gonna deal with, I don't want, and then she better not. It's a you mentality. When I was in anger management, that was the number one thing my anger management therapist told me. She was like, you will never get far if you always come to people with the pointing the finger mentality. If you talk to someone and say, you always, I'm sick of you. She was like, that's attacking. You have to figure out another way to speak to someone to let them know how you feel without attacking them and saying, you do this all the time. You is putting someone down. Yeah. If you use another language or another word pattern to say, I feel.
Yes.
That's simple. You see how that went?
Yes.
I feel that. If he would have said on his profile, I feel that certain women, I don't want that. It would, even though it would have still been annoying to me, and I still would have swiped away. Yeah. At least it wouldn't sound like you got issues or you angry. And
because y'all got baggage. Coming off mad angry.
It's giving the switcheroo of what men used to say about women about 10 years ago. They was like, all women are upset and they just mad outside. Y'all literally outside with a lace front on, patting it and is mad. Y'all outside the club like, I'm sick of these hoes. Like,
what can the man say?
It's giving y'all got a snap bodysuit on. It's giving I gotta unsnap you to get to the dick.
It's giving bad bitch energy.
It's giving bad,
it's not honestly, like I'm tired. Yeah,
a lot of men are acting like that.
They acting like bad.
They
bitches.
Tapping in on bad bitch energy.
Yeah,
and this is why we rather be out there with the bear. He not on that.
He not on that, baby. That
and
bear,
when I say no, he finna be like, aight.
He finna be like, damn, this was rude.
He
as
not
fuck.
finna run over and be like, that's why you bald. That's why you ugly. He not finna say that.
He's not gonna do that. He's gonna take that rejection and exit stage left. And it would be so much easier, I think, in general for us to coexist if we were both doing the work.
It's called you gotta look within, and a lot of men don't. And that, and I swear to God, I run into this all the time. It's just they think looking within is looking outward and saying, I don't want that. I don't like women like her. She's this. You're labeling us without even taking why do I attract that? You didn't even take. I had those moments.
I've had plenty of moments. I had a moment where I had to really sit with myself because I constantly attract clingy men. Like for some reason I will attract somebody and we'll go on a date and then you are suddenly you're just a barnacle around my neck. I'm tired of you already. Why are you
never letting me
so
get
clingy? Yes. Yeah. And I had to really figure out, okay, why the fuck do I keep attracting guys like this? And it was because I have a very different attachment style. So I am a detached attachment style type of person. I struggle to open up to people. And so I can be warm, but I'm not necessarily one of those people that we gonna go on one date and I'm gonna see my life with you. I struggle with that. And I think a lot of times this is kind of like going to segue into a different point, but I wonder sometimes if men say, okay, this girl checks these boxes. I don't necessarily feel the chemical attraction, but the boxes are checked. So I'm going to just pursue her heavy and see if I can make her the one.
I've heard this is again, I'm not saying for all men, but I remember a long time ago I worked at this restaurant and this guy, I don't know how we got in the conversation, but he was just like, when a man's ready to get married, he just gets married. When he rarely
That's what
marries
Miranda
the
on
woman.
Sex and the City said. Yeah,
he's like
they
he
like
rarely
Beyonce.
marries the woman that he was in love with, and he like, he's like 9 times out of 10, the woman he was in love with, he messed that up.
Yes.
So now when
She
he's ready
blocked
to
you.
get you're blocked. So like
Yeah.
now when you're ready to get married, it's like whatever woman's in his life that checks basic boxes, he'll just marry her. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, you can't make a man marry you, or you can't look at a man as that's your husband. He has to just want to be ready to get married, and he'll choose whoever is around, to marry. And I'm like, that's disgusting.
And so I think that's where another disconnect for us is coming in, though, is because we don't want to settle. And so I think a lot of times what is happening, and this is for women specifically who are settling, you'll say you make like a 30-point checklist. These are the things I want out of my guy. Like, this is my ideal man. And then you meet a man with 15 of the 30 things on the checklist. A lot of people will say, you know what, 15 things is a lot. I'm gonna roll with this and see how it goes. But the problem with rolling with a guy who only checks half of your boxes is that you're going to be so much more annoyed with him for the insignificant shit. Him leaving the toilet seat up, him not like making the bed in the morning. Those are the things, those little insignificant things are really going to infuriate you.
I get a
he's
question
not your
for
guy.
you, though. I feel like, and I think we talked about this over the phone. This is how I got into we talked about this.
Yeah.
My last situation, it wasn't that, well, let me start it this way. I'm the type of woman where I don't like to casually date. I feel like I'm past that part of my life. And like, if I'm not trying to be relationship type of mode, I'm gonna just hang out with me. I'm not gonna casually date. But when I do start dating, I am in this age now where I'm like, I'm dating for this to go long term, for this to turn into possibly a marriage. So when you are going on dates with me, I'm pretty much, I'm interviewing you to see if you a husband candidate for the future or whatever. But I got into my last situation because I was like, friends and myself was thinking, nobody's going to be perfect. You're not going to find anybody who's going to check all of your boxes. So how do you go about what to accept and what not to accept? Now, obviously, I didn't accept abuse, or I didn't accept, things that were negative towards me. But I did bypass certain things that a person didn't have because some of their pros outweighed the cons.
Yeah.
But things like the toilet and the bed, like, I feel like I catch that shit now.
Yeah, but those aren't deal breakers now because you actually like who you're with, right?
Right.
So he's checking a lot more boxes than probably
right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So
that's the part that was hard for me.
Yeah.
It was like, how do you go about dating now? Because now there is so much shit out there, and you deal with so much. Like for me, there was I think right after my last breakup, this was like last year, the year before last, and I was out dating, honey. When you go on a whole bunch, you gonna say, let's be with me. Because by the time you get through all the BS that ain't even got nothing to do with a toilet seat, you're gonna be like, I'm never gonna find halfway.
So I think,
so how do you go about that for both genders now? Because you're never gonna find a perfect person. I personally feel like now in the relationship I'm in, I'm very happy, but I told my mother this today. I'm learning that there are some things that I'm going to have to fight for, and some things I'm going to have to just be like, this is this person.
Yeah.
And I have to find a way for this to work for me instead of like beating them down on that particular thing.
But I think when people hear checks boxes, they're thinking of like these insurmountable goals, these things that are just not attainable, and they absolutely are attainable. Like when I looked at my list recently, because I have a list of
I wrote down the things that
I have a list
wanted out of a husband.
Yes, I have a list of things that I want out of a husband, and on the list is compassionate, like kind to me, kind to his family, supportive, like not emotionally manipulative, emotionally available. These are the things on the list.
Yeah.
The list is not 6 figures, that would be nice. Like, it's not 7 figures would actually be nice.
Yeah, 'cause nowadays, honey, you gonna need about 7 or
it's
more.
expensive out here, but it's not a bunch of like material things.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that happens with a lot of people is you write this list of what you want and you get 15 of the 30, and 10 years into the relationship you're wondering why you're kind of unhappy, and it's because you compromised half of your list.
Have to,
because the things that you put on your list are actually really important to you. And so I remember when I was working in luxury retail during the holidays, the guys would come in and get bags for their wives and girlfriends.
Right.
And the wife would explicitly say, I want a red bag, or I want a pink bag.
Mm-hmm.
And we wouldn't have a red or a pink bag. And the husband would say, okay, well, just give me an orange bag, or just give me a green bag, whatever you got. And so she got a bag because he just needed to give her something, but it's not the bag she wanted. A lot of times people are just in a relationship with somebody who checks 15 of the 30 boxes because they want to have someone.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Now that, I mean, I don't know what dating like is anywhere else, but in LA, honey, oh, it's the survival of the fittest.
It is.
And
but
the insecurity of things here in LA, you will get a lot of that.
Let me just say this though. You can get what you want is the point.
No, I mean like people that are just being with you because they can't be alone.
Yeah.
LA is
and
full
I think
of that.
that's what is happening is a lot of people are writing their list and they get half of the things on the list and they settle for that because they don't think they can get the full list. They think it's too big of an ask.
This is what my things bringing us back to the list. There are things on my list that I am not bending on. You have to have a
like
top, at least 5 or 6 that are non-deal breakers.
Yeah.
Because you literally, honestly, this is just me. I feel like you could be with somebody for 10 years and be like, I'm just not feeling this shit no more.
Yes,
like, you could
100%.
It ain't necessarily about your list.
Yeah.
That's just me. But I feel like
that's 100%
you could just be
accurate.
over it now. Or you could just be
just
like,
grown out of it.
I'm grown out of this. I want to do something else in my life.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are certain things that you have to have on that list. Like, okay, yeah, he may not be tall or he may not have 6 figures, but there are whatever is important to you, he better have at least 5 of those.
Yeah.
Or you finna be
But I
caught
think
out
the
here
thing is,
looking
like,
weird.
we looking at a list and we're thinking that the stuff that we're putting on it is not important. Every single thing you put on your list, if it's
all
important,
of it is. I'm just saying, like, what is this? Like, for example, I'll give you this. I think on my list was tall.
Yeah.
Taller than me.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I'm talking about the mediocre stuff. Like the emotional part was like, he better have that.
Those are deal breakers.
Better be emotionally available. Can he have good communicate? Like important parts. Like not the parts
and
about
so
the
that's
money
what my
and the
list looks
material
like.
And the tall.
Yes.
All that
Yes.
stuff, yeah, we want that. But
we
like,
want that. But I
but
think
if he ain't emotionally available,
it's not going to work. Because
tall
you
ain't
have to,
gonna do it,
it's
baby.
not going to do it.
Money
You
ain't
got
gonna
to
fix
think
it.
about what it is long term. So now I got this fucking green bag. And this green bag is great. And I'm going to wear this with a lot of outfits and I'm going to take it on vacation. But I honestly still need a red bag.
Yeah.
Like I still need the other 15 things on my
bag.
list.
Yeah.
And so people will write out their manifestations for what they want in a partner and they don't wait. You have to wait. You have to be confident enough and trust in God and trust in the universe enough that your like wish for your partner will be provided, because it will. Like you might have to wait a little bit longer than you wanted to wait, but it will be provided.
Me, it sucks. Especially when you think he's your husband.
Yes.
I was super dumb.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yes.
But we all be that though.
Baby,
we all be that.
Crying her whole
We
soul
all
out.
be that. I
and
absolutely
then go look at him and be like, not crying over an ugly man.
Like,
That's
but
crazy.
you absolutely go through a phase where you be with a motherfucker and you think this who you gonna be with, and then suddenly your eyes are open and you're like, oh my God, thank God I did not get married to the person I thought I wanted to marry.
No, you know what my problem was, and maybe I'm a late bloomer. I think in my mind, I kept thinking, every relationship you have, you learn something about yourself. You upgrade that, you make that better. You'll be rewarded with someone that's just like that. Whoop, boop, boop, wrong. You literally, like, cause that's how dumb I was. I was like, oh, I'm better now, so I'm gonna attract better now. And I had this dumb mentality of, oh, if I keep telling him, he's gonna make it better. He's gonna change. And then he don't, and then you be somewhere burn up. And like, you got to keep in mind, like I said earlier, you could tell somebody, I don't like this. This is the boundary I'm setting. And give them a benefit of the doubt to change, because you can't change shit overnight. So if it's a bad habit for them, give them the amount of time that you can handle. But there's a possibility where you have to check yourself and be like, oh, he ain't it. And tap out. That was my problem.
Yes.
I would stay with dudes constantly trying to make them be that other thing that was on my list. And they kept saying okay, and never doing that.
Because they don't have
And
the
I would
capacity to.
stick
Yeah.
there because I'm like, well, he does have all these things. Maybe I'm
Yes.
tripping. And that, what you told me once, buyer's remorse.
Mm-hmm.
Baby girl put me on that. And like every time I would have a moment with this man, I would be like, you got buyer's remorse, bitch. You got
Yes.
you got to get out of here.
I
But
think
like,
a lot of people who are in long-term relationships, though, people who got married in their early 20s, I wonder if a lot of them do have buyer's remorse. Because the person that you are at 21, I don't even know who that girl was.
Yeah.
At 39, I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
And so if I were still trying to make the relationship that I was in at that age work at this age, I would be miserable.
Yeah.
Because we're not compatible at this age.
Oh, honey, I be thinking about certain men that I swear to God,
yes,
my man.
This was the one.
I loved
he
him.
was the one.
Baby, I would have left.
He was never the one.
He was
yes,
it was never gonna be you.
It was never gonna be you. And the thing is, the
you.
universe will make it. Like, you'll keep trying to press something, and the universe will get so tired of you trying to press a situation that is not for you.
He finna throw you
that
down
it
on
will
the ground
just
and punch you in your face.
they
like
gonna rip the shit to shreds. Like, bitch, we tried to tell you.
Okay.
And so at the end of the day, the lesson for you has to
when
be
them red flags be flagging.
Yes, when the red flags say, when it's a flag on the play, bitch, exit the field. It's okay.
Exit stage left.
Exit stage left. And I think we just be hanging on to shit. This is how you end up in a loveless marriage.
And
people
that's
be
why
like,
men are upset though. Because
yes.
now, honey, you have women that are like, oh, so you're not gonna.
Yeah, okay, cool. Got
she's
it. I'm
outside
good.
the next day, cute and doing something
Yes.
else. And that was never the case.
That was never the case. We used to sit up in our room and fucking write love letters and cry about it. And
I don't think our generation was not so much. I will say that I remember that for like my mom and my aunts, and you know, I've seen a lot. Like for the women in my family, I think that also was a really strong reason of why I was very driven in my career and I never had children. And men were like last on my list.
Mhm.
It was like, I want to be great and successful in my own right. And a lot of that had to do with what I saw. I saw some of my aunts, you know, go through things with their husbands, them cheating on them and having kids on them and them working that out, but not understanding that. And my mom going through things with my dad and several other men after that.
Yeah.
And then for my own experience, like as you get older, one thing I will give y'all, as you get older, you really gonna see men for who they are. And that's where I'm at with it. I'm at a space now where I was telling my mom today, I'm like, I'm too woke. I'm in a space now where I'm not going to argue with you to make you better.
Mhm.
I'm going to look you dead in the eye and be like, oh, this him.
Mhm.
It's either I'm going to figure out a way to make this work for me or I'm going to have to exit stage left.
Mhm.
Because I'm not at an age now where I'm trying to make nobody be better because I got to make me better.
Yeah.
It's on you to make you be better.
It's on you to make you
It's
be
on
better.
you.
And when I'm constantly trying to point out for you that these are the things that I need to exist comfortably and happily in this space, and you're not receptive to that, I'm gonna have to go.
Yeah, and a lot of men now, I want them to step up and admit, and this is something I wish I want to bring other men to talk about this too.
Yeah,
I feel like what's with you got all these requirements of what you want from women, but when you get them, it seems as if all you want is for her to sleep with you, do your laundry, cook your food.
You want a sex worker and a maid.
And be there
yeah.
whenever you need her.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm being for real. Like, some men I've dated, and I had one actually say this to me. I remember we were in a debate about something about needs or something, and somehow he said something to me, I just need you to be there. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you just need me to be around? Like, you just want me to hang out?
It reminded me actually of Love and Basketball. People always talk about Love and Basketball as this like great love story, but he really played in her face.
Hard.
And I just really can't, like, I love the movie and I'm gonna watch it when it's on TV, but also like, this is not a great love story.
Oh.
Because he really was like, you forgot to be there. Motherfucker, I have curfew. I'm here on a scholarship.
It's not always about you.
It's not about you.
She has a career
We can
too.
actually go back to my room and have this conversation, and you're so like
you want her to
spent
drop
up.
everything in her life and her career for you.
Like,
but
what
that's
the
how
fuck?
they think. A lot of them really do think
baby, because
weirdly
it didn't
like
got me
this.
kind of tight because they really be trying to position this movie as like this great American
baby,
love story.
how about
and
every
I'm not
love
here
story
for
is
it.
a setup? As
Honestly,
you get older, you're
when
gonna
I
be
think
looking at
about
Sex in the City like,
Sex in the City
this is a nightmare.
But I also like hate Carrie. Carrie was the
really?
problem. Oh my god, Carrie
At
was
the end of the
an
day,
idiot.
though, Biggs was a terrible man.
Big was a terrible man, but Carrie, why do you keep tying yourself in knots for this man who clearly
We
does
all
not
have
give a
done
fuck
that
about
before.
You? We have, and I honestly like Sex in the City. We could have a whole episode on this because it
Pretty
really drives
much.
me nuts.
But have you watched The Notebook?
The
Sex in the
Notebook,
City.
Love
None
Jones.
of the love stories are positive.
Baby, Love Jones, he stole her.
Baby Boy.
Baby Boy was always a mess. We always knew Baby.
Film.
But when I watched Love Jones as an adult, he got her number her address actually off a check that she wrote at a record store and then showed up to her home.
Where do I start? You see,
Like,
you
do
see
you
what we're trying to say?
understand that if a man did this to me right now, I would
ain't
call
romantic,
the police
baby.
so fucking. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Somehow he's on the news dead.
Dead. Because why have you showed up at my place? And the thing is, she told him no. So when I look at like our old school love stories, I just kind of be
None
like,
of them are
oh,
good.
Okay, this was really out of pocket.
We were delusional. You can go to Disney right now and watch The Little Mermaid was a setup as well.
But
It's
Beauty and the
wild
Beast
out here.
Beauty and the Beast, like, you really turned this 16-year-old into a beast because he was mean. That is just what 16-year-olds are.
All I'm saying is,
okay,
y'all,
I'm sorry. We've got
but it's true though. But even when you watch Baby Boy, okay, Baby Boy was a horror film for me.
It was.
Because it was just
100%.
like, she's showcasing to you that she loves you. She's trying to be a good mother to your kid. You live at your mama house. You also, the whole movie was traumatizing because when I watched it as an adult, I'm like, not Jodie rode a bike.
A bike.
The whole movie. You don't notice that when you ain't healed.
Bike.
When you heal as a woman and watch the movie,
he was
you
using
like,
her Honda Accord. I think that's what she had.
and told her to her face, I messed with her, but I did.
Yeah. I literally can't with Baby
Still
Boy.
sleeping with the baby mama. You rode a bike the whole thing. You didn't have a job.
Yeah.
You was selling dresses.
I hated this
You
movie.
were a bum.
Literally. Like,
He don't
such
love
a
me no
fucking
more.
bum
When she
ass.
says that,
Yeah.
we've all been there.
Yeah.
But let's circle back. That is what they're looking for. They miss those type of
being
women,
able
ladies.
to be that toxic and that abusive.
I've had men. I remember I had a
boyfriend.
boyfriend say to me one time, I don't know how we got on it. It was an ex of mine. He said something to me. I was telling him about something I had did. It was a joke. I think I was like, oh, back when I was younger, I keyed car or something like that. He was like, oh, what do I got to do to get you to act that crazy over me? And when he said that, I looked at him and was like, ugh, the insecurity is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like but some men want that. They want to get you to a level of how crazy can they get you to go to feel important. And we're no longer doing that. So a lot of men it's almost like gremlins. Like we starving them out outside. It's like they getting starved. That's why they look so bad when you see them.
Don't feed the trolls.
It's like, don't feed them after they not getting fed. They look, I'm just saying they're dying outside.
Yeah, dying
and
on the vine, baby.
Because they can't get you to be going crazy over them while they still messing with this girl. Now, I'm not saying there aren't some situations like that still going on. But like you said earlier, you were like, there's some women that's going to let you do this.
There's some women that are going to let you do it. And I think just as we are on the trajectory of like living out our dreams and having our own money and making our own way in the world, the people that we invite into our space really need to complement it in every way, or they don't need to be a part of it. And so women are doing this with relationships, with friendships, with family even. Yeah. Because we have set boundaries with family that I think a lot of men struggle to set. We have set boundaries in friendships that I think men struggle to set. Like, you constantly hear about how there's no mental health support for men. Nobody cares what men are going through. Y'all need to talk to each other. Yeah. I think a lot of times what happens is I'm
gonna go ahead and say no to that, because they're not gonna give the best advice.
They're not gonna give the best advice. But the thing
they need
is
to talk to each other and still come out dumb.
They could go to therapy, but also I think this crazy. We talk to each other about a lot of shit and help each other get through things.
But I think women might be smarter.
We are 100%. We're the best. But there's a learning curve to it, right? And there needs to be space amongst men to talk about things that they're going through mentally, emotionally, financially even, and them be encouraged and heard and validated and listened to, and the onus of managing the weight of your emotions not being placed on the woman you're in a relationship with. Yeah. Like, I cannot be the only person you're talking to about the things that you go through, because it's too much for me to handle on top of what else I'm handling in the relationship. Yeah. Like, when you think about women, we have certain friends and family members that we go to for certain things. Yeah. We disperse the shit out because we're going through a lot. Everybody's going through so much shit.
Like, but you can't just play the game.
You can't just play the game. You can't
they be like, I'm gonna play the game and fix.
No, you can't be one of them people who trauma dumping on one person all the time. You got to dump your trauma in different pots. Yeah. Like, it's certain people that are in your life for certain things, and you connect with them in one way or another about these specific things. You need to have a couple different people that you can do that with.
And that's very true. They have to have a couple of different people, and I think choose those people wisely.
Yes, for sure.
Don't choose any man who's outside that don't have. Like, I would say for a man, you should have a friend who's married, You know, you should have a friend who's married. You
And
should have an
faithful.
actual, and faithful,
And faithful.
and have an actual therapist, and then have a friend who's, someone who works out or single, but they have a good perspective on their single lifestyle. Like, you need good people in your circle. Like, for me, like you were saying earlier, I cut out a lot of friends in my life that weren't serving who I am now. Like, as a woman now, I'm not doing certain things.
Yep.
So I can't hang around or talk to. And I've had friends of mine say to me, like, I don't take, advice from my single girlfriends when I'm married. Like, I've heard women say that. I've had a friend say, I don't take advice from single women for my life because I'm married. And I respect that. Bitch, I'm not married. So maybe you need to talk to the other girls and let them know. I might not be the one. I don't take that personally. Girl,
I don't take it personally, but I think the idea...
great. Let's talk about something else.
I think that is internalized misogyny. I'm going to be real about that.
One of my homegirls told me that one time.
No, it is.
Now, granted,
it's internalized misogyny.
I had to check her about something because she was being bitchy.
Right.
But
let me just parse this out right quick, though, because I need for people to understand that when we are invalidating a woman's opinion about something or saying that she cannot possibly have a good perspective on it because she's single, that is internalized misogyny.
It's also called insecure and weird.
It's insecurity, but you have internalized the ideology that single women are incapable of valuing a relationship and incapable of giving you like pertinent advice and listening to you and validating what you're experiencing and helping you navigate a sticky situation in your marriage. And every single woman ain't trying to disrupt your flow and get you to get a divorce.
Right.
Single women,
and her perspective might literally...
Her perspective is valuable. Yeah. And your friends, hopefully for a reason, because you value her opinion and you understand where she's coming from. But also as a single person, I have 10 married friends and we talk about the stuff that goes on in their relationships. We are supportive of each other in general.
It's an opinion.
It's an opinion, but really also your single girlfriends want your marriage to succeed. So if they your real friends, any advice that they're giving you, unless you're in an abusive situation, any advice that you're getting from a single girlfriend is going to be aligned with the success of your marriage. Nobody who is a single friend is advising a married woman to leave their husband or do something that would alienate the bonds of the relationship. And a lot of times I think that is the thinking around married women saying, I don't talk to my single friends about my marriage. You don't talk to your single friends about your marriage because you insecure and because y'all don't value your single friends' opinions.
And that's someone's perspective.
Yeah.
That also triggers into what we're talking about. I think that men don't respect women's perspectives of things. And that's also causing a lot of friction between the genders because it's just that's the same thing with you. You might agree with one presidential candidate, but that's just you. That don't make you a bad person. That's what you want.
Well,
this is how I roll. For me, it's, hey, do you. If you like it, I love it. If you a Trump supporter, I'm not rocking with you.
Right.
But
ever.
I'm not finna hate you. You finna.
I'm gonna hate you, but we're not gonna be friends.
I'm not finna be outside your door come on.
We're not gonna be friends. I'm not gonna fight you about it, but we're never gonna speak to each other again.
But that's I'm okay the thing, with that. Though. Why can't men just accept that certain women don't want them?
Yeah.
And not have to throw shots or make them feel like you're dumb for not. Because I feel like that's what I'm seeing now. It's like when women say no, or they say I'm not dealing with, or I don't want to, it's, that's me, or it's what I hate seeing so much on TikTok. Women out here talking about they don't want kids. They talking about they don't want, you want kids. You want them. Not why are you yelling at us?
Well, why don't you want kids? I think that's the question that should be asked.
But why are you so concerned?
Why are you so mad? But also, why don't you want kids? Because if you start asking women why they don't want kids, you would uncover a mountain of truth. There are a myriad of reasons
that
why
man, nobody wants
out
of
of
him.
parenthood.
He wasn't on. But but that's the thing. That's the normal mentality of asking. I love that you said that.
Yeah.
Because he could just he could be like, why don't? What happened?
Yeah.
They don't do that. They just get immediately defensive, immediately angry, and immediately
tell
want to put you down.
You should have kids. You would be such a great mom. I have no doubt I would be a great mom. Yeah. I have no doubt you would be a great mom. But at the end of the day, exactly. I'm an amazing dog mother. But at the end of the day, the stars have not aligned yet for me to comfortably parent.
Yeah.
And I just am not mentally in a space where I feel like, yes, I'm going to just do it by myself.
Because now
I have no desire to do that.
Less of the, I want to be a mother and I can't wait to have a kid. More of the, do I want to be attached to this man for the rest of my life? I think more women are thinking that.
Yes.
And
so I think it brings me to another point
Because sometimes y'all be ugly and we want to see you forever. No, I'm
Well,
just kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm being silly. But nah, literally, I think a lot of women are. I know I've thought that way.
Yes.
It wasn't really just like
I
I
don't want
want
to
a
be attached to you.
child.
No, I don't want to be attached to you though. Yeah.
But then also, this is me too. Knowing what I know about my father and the things I dealt with as a kid and what I had to see my parents go through in front of me, that me and my brother both talked about this. That really made me think through having kids with any certain man. Like, you ever date somebody and you start seeing certain flaws where you're like, ooh, no, I don't want this for my child. I don't want him to be in this type of environment.
The thing is, I kind of feel like I've had kind of an unfortunate dating experience because I've dated very few people who I would ever have a kid with. Like,
I'm such a, I'll be honest, maybe, and it could be like age for me too, because I feel like I'm at an age now where my thought process is always like marriage and kids and things like that. But then like once they start talking and saying certain things, I'll be like, no, I don't want my kid in an environment with someone who thinks this way or talks to me this way. I saw something recently. I think it might have been a breakfast club or something I saw. And someone said, oh no, it was just a clip. It was this lady that said, what men fail to see. I don't know what it was, but she was like, what men fail to see when it comes to having a great household is like, when you make the woman feel comfortable, she raises your kids better. Like, in other words, if you keep her happy and you like loving her properly and you're showcasing that in front of the child, it helps the kid become a better kid. Like, he's better in school. He's better at sports. He's better at all these things, which I was away like, I beg to differ. A lot of the black kids become great at sports because they ain't got no parents, right? But I was like, but she was saying it just helps their academics. And it helps them, have a better life if it showcased that the father is showing the child the love with the mother. And that was always something that I never saw. I never saw my father being loving to my mother and being nice. I grew up seeing him being turned all the time to where I was like, I got to be outside on 10 with these dudes because this is what I'm used to. But like, it was men that I dated and the growth that I've had, I knew that I wasn't ready because I wasn't attracting the right man. But when I would see how they were, I was just like, nah, I don't want to have no kids with somebody who talked to me like this or make me feel a certain kind of way and be attached to him forever. No, thank you.
I just think we got to be honest with ourselves at this point and just say we have survived certain things and we don't want to put ourselves back into a situation where we have to resurvive.
Right.
Like, I don't want to have to be in a space where I'm going to have to heal from an experience with another person.
No.
And so we're pulling the plug on stuff a lot earlier than we used to, and we're waiting because we're comfortable with who we are. We're comfortable being alone. And I think a lot of people are so uncomfortable with sitting with themselves, with like examining their thoughts, with going out to dinner alone. I see so many people talk about how scared they are to go to dinner alone. Go.
Really?
Yeah.
I did it today.
People go, they get so like in their head about what people are going to think about seeing them alone. I remember last year I went to Valentine's Day dinner. I'm single. So Valentine's Day roll around and I'm single. I'm going to take myself out.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to like a 5-course meal at this place called Pura Vida in LA. It's a vegan Italian restaurant. It was amazing. Yeah, it was so good. But I remember telling people about it and people being like, "Oh my God, I would be so embarrassed to go out by myself on Valentine's Day." Why? Do you not love yourself?
Like, I be loving on me.
I be loving on me.
I be loving on me inside of a relationship.
I need to do that more often now. Like, I've kind of gotten away from it just with everything that I've been doing. But I think to a certain degree, a lot of people are so afraid to be alone. It goes back to the point of we're settling for what we don't want because we're afraid we're never going to get what we do want. And everybody just kind of got to get to a point where they're comfortable like getting into their emotions and like healing their shit and figuring their shit out and then waiting until the right person comes along. Because settling for somebody who giving you 15 of your 30 is just insane.
Or just
to
don't
me.
settle for something and you got to constantly be nagging or feeling like you're nagging.
Yeah.
Anybody that you got to keep being like, I need, or can you, like, no.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time.
Don't waste
you
your
were
time.
going to say something about what you saw with the, what is that touring show?
Tonight's conversation.
The tonight's conversation, which I think is really funny because like that became a really popular thing due to the fact that we're having so many misconceptions and miscommunications with genders.
Yeah,
that became really popular. And what are your thoughts on that actual tour and that like that?
I mean, I love what they're doing. They definitely are like bringing discourse to a lot of the conversations that we're having behind closed doors. Like they're doing it in a public space, and I think it's great. And I also think that some of what they say is super like important. So Trip he's the guy with the hat and the glasses.
Right.
I
Okay.
feel like he always has like good
he
good
does
points.
Get majority
he
of
gives
the clips.
like
I
good
do know that
points.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said something like men and women are raising their vibrations and we're both looking at each other like kind of what else, what are you gonna do, like, and
that's deep.
Yeah, I think the thing is, because we talked about how men are kind of doing like the bad bitch thing, I do think that some are putting in the work to try to be better. I think majority of people who are doing that, yes, are women. But I also think another point that he made was saying that people are requiring all these things of their partner and they're not willing to embody the things that they're requiring. So you're not willing to become the kind of partner that you want. Wow. And a lot of these people are like, I want somebody who like makes six figures. I want somebody who is emotionally available. I want someone who is supportive, who is kind, who is loving, who is generous, but you're not that person.
Wow.
And it's really hard to attract that if you're not that.
Yeah.
And so women will say, yes, I want somebody who makes money. I want somebody who does this. I want somebody who does that. That's great. The end all be all is not you making six figures or seven figures. Like, it's fun if you do, we can have a good time. But essentially what people want is somebody who is going to value them and treat them with respect and treat them with kindness and be emotionally intelligent. Read the room. Understand that when I'm having a bad day, I don't want to be sexualized. Understand that when I'm telling you I have anxiety, I don't need you to give me a million different solutions all the time. Sometimes I just want you to listen and give me a hug.
Right.
Or I don't need you to get irritated with me when I don't feel like doing XYZ. I just need you to understand that sometimes I'm going through a thing and you got to let me be.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of times we want all these things. I love what they're doing because I think they bring so much light to what the dating world is like. But to his point, yes, people are asking for a lot in relationships and they're not willing to supply what they're asking for.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is happening with men where you're like, she needs to cook, she needs to clean, she needs to be a wife, she needs to like run the home, but you got to do that stuff too.
Also, I think a lot of that conversation, you know, men that are the ones that are saying those things, you really should look at who you're hanging around and your surroundings. How are the women that aren't whatever it is that you're looking for are not coming to you?
Yeah.
What is it that you're putting out? And piggybacking off what you're saying, because that was a really great. I haven't seen that episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of men too are all they want to do is be in a club. Are you in the club?
Are you in the club?
Are you in the club?
Yeah. So
how
when
do you
I'm
know they're there,
attracting clingy men, I have to look at myself like I have an avoidant personality. Of course, I'm attracting clingy men because I'm not emotionally available. And so if you meet a woman who is like checking a couple of your boxes, and she's not emotionally available, well, suddenly it's like, I got to conquer this. I got to figure out how to get this.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, though. Me too. I kept getting this thing where I would attract insecurity.
Yes,
like men that would be in the inside they're insecure, being on the outside they had clothes, shoes, money, and I think what I learned was there was a huge part of myself that was insecure. There was a huge part of myself that hid behind my comedy, hid behind these lovely twists and all of that. And I didn't take the time to see who that girl was because I was so busy running after my career and wondering why I was attracting a certain type of man when it was like, you damn near live behind the mask,
and
baby. So you got to figure that out.
What I figured out to that point is I am avoidant attached. And this is why I think for a lot of people, it's just you can't settle. I'm avoidant attached because I struggle to connect with people. When I do connect with people, I can be like very like oh, hey, let's hang out. Like I can be clingy.
Mhm.
And that's something that I've had to like work on in myself. Why am I clingy? Well, I have abandonment issues.
What
Why
is
do
that
I have
one term they
abandonment
say?
issues?
You are what you attract.
Yeah. Why do I have abandonment issues? Okay, well, I got to go back and heal some childhood trauma and really address like what in my life has contributed to me feeling like when I meet somebody that I really like, because it's rare, when I meet somebody that I really like, why do I want to hold on so tight to it? Why am I so like just clingy detached?
Mhm.
I had to examine that.
Yeah.
And now that I've examined that, I'm a lot better and
Mhm.
I can be a little bit healthier in a relationship with a person that I enjoy hanging out with. But that was me having to say, okay,
Yeah.
well, why is this happening?
Yeah. And that's what I mean. I feel like, where are these men hanging out? Because they keep on being like, oh, all girls want to do is have wigs on and go to the club
We
and
do.
do this
We
and do
like
that.
our wigs.
And you're just like, what does this have to do with her being a great mom or being a great wife? But also, yeah, I think a lot of it has to be accountability on like, what are you bringing to it? Also, I think too, especially for me, knowing a lot of men in the industry, I think the industry world is a really different world than the regular
dating
world.
in LA is like.
And like the industry world, for example, like, yeah, there are a lot of no shit dudes and a lot of no shit women too, because everybody in Hollywood is just trying to be seen and be popular. So I think when I hear my male peers say women don't want to be wives, they just want to run the street and date celebrities. How do you know that? You're in that same environment where she's at constantly. I have had some of my comedian peers be like, she's always at the party. She's one of those. How the hell do you know she always at the party?
At the party. Yeah.
You always at the party.
You always at the party.
You know what I'm saying? Like he said, every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, all the hog moms. Like you, it's like they don't look at that though.
Yeah.
I do hear a lot of my guy friends being like, it ain't no good women out here. All they want to do is get the money. You're hanging around those environments. You have to take a step back and heal yourself and change your environment, and then maybe you attract a different type.
And I also think that is consistent with sex too, because you'll hear men say, I don't want somebody with a lot of bodies, but you got a lot of bodies. So how you don't want somebody with a lot of bodies, but you a hoe.
You a hoe, and then you
I just feel like, what are we talking about right now?
What are we talking
but
about?
But also,
here?
I think once you are a woman of a certain age, if you've been dating, you've got bodies. Like, it just is what it is. If you're a man of a certain age, if you've been dating, you have bodies. It's so weird that men contextualize the value of a woman based on how many men she slept with, which in reality, if we're devalued by who we sleep with, you're the problem.
You're done.
Men are the problem. And so I think that the constant thing is we want somebody who is not doing what we're doing.
That's the
but
mentality.
You not embodying what you're trying to attract.
Yep.
Yes. And so if you want somebody who is not sleeping with a bunch of people or who hasn't slept with a bunch of people, you need to stop sleeping with a bunch of people. Yes. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the partner that you're hoping for deserves a good partner too.
Also, I think it's fair to say, because we run out of time, I think it's also fair to say, you guys, we're all human.
Yeah.
And I think we have to ask ourselves what we're going to accept and what we're not going to accept. And I think you have to accept people for where they are and who they are. And if that doesn't work for you, that's your choice to move on. Okay, and you don't have to be angry.
We don't got to force it.
You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be angry that this isn't working for you. I think a lot of times when things aren't working for me, the first thing I do is look at me. I don't go, these people are ridiculous.
There's something wrong with him.
Yeah, I'm like,
why is he like this?
Yeah. You know, so like, even like I was saying, like I attracted a lot of insecure, like, you know, overcompensating type of men in the past. And I had to learn that there was some part of me that was attracting that. And when I took the break and the way that I met my current partner, you guys, it was nuts. It wasn't even like a dating app or an event or anything. It was, I think for the both of us, it was like, what are you doing here? It was very random. And I wasn't even looking
organic,
to date. Very random and organic. I wasn't even looking to date, which I know that you guys are probably sick of hearing that, but I wasn't looking.
No, but that's how the law of polarity is, that anything you're trying to attract is going further away from you.
Yeah.
And anything you have released.
Oh God, I need money.
Yeah. Anything you have released is slowly like circling your orbit, making its way into your reality. Yeah. That's just how that works.
But But you guys, next week we are going to
have the guys.
We're gonna bring some
gonna
guys
get some
in
men's perspective
and get
on
their
this.
perspective
Yes.
on this shenanigans going on in the street.
Yes, we're gonna see what they gotta say. We're gonna try not
we
to.
We're gonna have a
beat 'em
guest
up
or
too
two.
bad.
We'll see what happens. But we love you guys, and we appreciate you listening to us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Episode.
New episode is out on Thursday. You can stream all the old episodes on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and interact with us.
Please
leave us
you
comments. You can DM us if you have questions. If you have stuff that you want to see us discuss, let us know. We are open, y'all. We want to hear it. So thank you so much for watching.
See y'all next week.
Bye, boos.